afraid. And the last thing is circle of influence. What does that mean?
Who do you know?
Who do you know? People that know you, and who do you know? Now, either you need to have the circle of influence in place or be willing to build it. You'd be willing to go out and develop a circle of influence. So the key that he said, you can tell when somebody's an amateur versus when they're a pro. These are the things that you notice when a pro. So what are some of the things you can tell when somebody's a pro in any field? Their knowledge, okay, they're competent. What else?
Persistence.
Persistent, skilled, they have developed a skill, they work on themselves. What else? They have experience. And you know, oftentimes, they're the ones that show up when other people don't. You know, amateurs, they make excuses, they get distracted. A pro, the show must go on. You know, they work even when they're not feeling well. You know, if somebody's going on stage, you know, the show must go on. You know, a professional just sucks it up and you just go out there and you do it. So these are the things. And the other one that a lot of people fail to remember is pros get paid to do what they do. Amateurs don't. They do it for fun. So I think you should be okay with us to get compensated for helping save people's lives. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great. But some people actually have a hang-up around earning income. I heard someone else the other day say, gosh, how would I want to make a list of my friends and family and go to kind of get them to do this program? I said, gosh, I would, if you really look at how our model is, you make a list of people not to get, but to share what you're doing and offer to find out if this is something that they're interested in. You don't have to talk anyone into this. So never feel like you're trying to get or talk anyone into this. But the key is, Edwards Deming, you've heard of Edwards Deming, he's kind of well known in Japan. He's not as well known, sadly, in the United States. I know Brandon knows it because he studied it. He's known for the what movement? Brandon? Quality movement. He's like the pioneer. Before made in Japan used to mean it's junk and it's going to break down when we were young. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Now made in Japan means it lasts forever. And it's because he went over there. One of the things he taught is you can't improve what you don't measure. Does that make sense? If you're trying to get healthy and you're not measuring whether you're moving in the right direction or wrong direction, how do you know whether you're winning or losing? How can you improve? How can you test whether your theory is an effective theory or not if you don't have data to support it? So in this business, do you have to actually be at least comfortable with some numbers if you want to be successful as a pro? Mm-hmm. Do basketball players know their stats? You bet. So what we want to do is, we kind of did this. I want to make sure everyone in the room does this. So please take a moment and write down what's your hourly rate at your current day job, if you have one, and then how many hours per week. And let's do the same thing for your TSFL business. How many hours are you working Take Shape for Life? Oh, I'm sorry, how many hours are you working? And then divide it by 4 weeks, and then divide by the number of hours, and that'll get your hourly rate. So know your numbers. I did this exercise with someone in Go Global, and her business was she made toys at home, and she loved it. Making little toys for kids, and as her wedding, she custom made them, and she was working about 30 hours a week. And when I calculated how many hours she was working, how much she spent on supplies, and how much she actually made in profit, she was working for $4.36 an hour. As a regional director working 10 hours a week in Take Shape for Life, she was earning something like $2,000 an hour. I'm sorry, $2,000 a month worked out to be something like, you know, $75 an hour. So when she took a look at that, it was a very easy decision for her to see where she needs to shift her time. But there's a moment of truth. Did I say the moment of truth? We talk about this a lot. If you just keep doing what you're currently doing, you'll probably end up where what? Where you're going, right? But what if you made a little subtle change here? And at first it doesn't seem like a big change, but if you take it out 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, your life could completely be different. So here's something that I think is important for us to understand as far as where we earn our income. Who's heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Robert Kiyosaki, right? He's the author of that book. His second book was my favorite book. It's called Cashflow Quadrant. And he talks about the difference between an employee versus self-employed. So as an employee, you have a job and you work for someone else, right? When you're self-employed, you start your own business, but guess what? You own a job. Another way to say it is the business owns you. Because if you're self-employed and you don't go show up to work that day, what happens to your income? There is none. Now, excuse me. The good news in Take Shape for Life, when you're supporting clients, because you're self-employed, it's your own business. True or false? If you don't support your clients, they won't be around very long, right? So when it comes to supporting clients, we need to be there for it. It's an actual S. It's what we call you're self-employed. But when your clients go on Be Slim and they get on auto ship and then they're auto, a year into it. I've got clients 4, 5, 6, 8 years into this program that I only talk to maybe once a quarter, and that's passive residual income. What you want to do if you want to build time freedom, you need to get out of this side of the equation. If your primary income is coming from being employed or self-employed, what happens on this side is you're trading time for money. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't show up for your job, or if you don't show up to your business, you don't make money or earn any income. And you're on your own. You're carrying all this weight by yourself. But if you come over here and be a business owner, is where there's two things, if you want to write it down. Kiyosaki has 2 criteria to consider whether it's a B or an S. Number 1, you own or control a system that generates profits. And number 2, you can hire and train people to work with you on that system. So you're not alone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's when you create leverage. Okay? An investor is somebody who their money works for you. Here, your business works. And the only thing I would say, instead of people working for you in Take Shape for Life, people work with you. There's no bosses here. Everyone is a volunteer. So what we're going to do is teach you how to move to the other side. To create time leverage, you need to get into that business building side where you're actually a team builder and you're a business coach. Now, here's a bulletproof strategy that if you follow these 5 steps, I can pretty much say that there's very little chance of you failing in Take Shape for Life. Number 1, first thing you have to do is take what?
Responsibility.
You have to choose that I'm the CEO of my life and I'm going to set my calendar and I'm going to choose what my priorities are. Number 2, identify your why and your 1 to 2 year goals. You might even want to go 3 to 5 years out, but you want to get clear on what would success look like for your life. What's your trilogy going to look like 1, 2, 3 years out? Then you want to break it down because 3 years is hard to organize. But 90 days, you can set up some meaningful organizational goals that you can move forward. So create a 90-day structural tension chart with your business coach. Next, take daily action and focus on the key performance indicators. We'll talk about that in a second. And then last, track and review your results with your mentor regularly. How often? Maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly, but stay in the game. Here's what that looks like. You create a structural tension chart. This is out of one of our training guides, and your mentor will help you with this if you haven't done it before. This is what you want to create. This is what it will mean to you when you get there. This is where you're starting from your current reality. These are the actions and projects you need to take. And as you take these actions, there's going to be what? Results. Good or bad, there's going to be results. From those results, you review it with your business coach and you evaluate what's working, what's not working, what went well, what do I need to adjust. You make those adjustments and you get back into what?
Action.
And if you take this cycle and every couple weeks you check in with your business coach, you'll be moving towards your goals. A couple other numbers you should know is there's, like John was saying, is there's, not everyone's ready. There's this thing called the 80-20 rule. Who's heard of it? It's been around for hundreds of years, right? It really says that if 2 out of 10 people will probably red apples and they're ready. When you approach them, they might be those 1 or 2 people that right out of the gate, they're ready. They just throw you their, who's ever had somebody just throws in their credit card, no questions asked. Gina lost 50 pounds, how do I do it? Sign me up, right? So that's about 5-to-1 ratio. So these are numbers to know because what we can tell is if somebody is doing an adequate, just a basically adequate level of asking questions and identifying and qualifying, at least 2 out of 10 people or 1 out of 5 would be ready to try the program. Okay? So if you share the program with 5 qualified clients, then that should lead to at least 1 new client. So that's a way for you to project, okay, if I want to reach ED, how many people do I need to talk to, right? You can work backwards. If you become pro, how many of you have had more success than 1 out of 5? How many of you have had 2 or 3 out of 5? I mean, yeah, sometimes you can get really good and actually can get to the 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 3. Okay? So that's what a pro does. They constantly work on improving their skills. And don't forget, 80% of people say yes after the 5th offer. So it's really important for us to do what?
Stay connected.
All right, let's talk about KPIs. Now, you guys know that how important it is to be integrated. The people who are integrated health coach, not only do they earn more income, they are way more successful for way longer. They have a sustainable business. True or false?
True.
So integration, when we have bonuses in the company, the structure of your business, if you're an executive director and you don't have, you're not certified, then you're not fully integrated. Are there some coaches out there that are not even offering the habits of health? They're just selling meal replacements. Is that true, sadly?
Yes.
So that's not an integrated health coach because they're not offering the full package to our clients. So a fully integrated health coach, who knows what the criteria are for a fully integrated health coach? Who can help me out with that? What's one of the criteria? 6,000 in frontline volume. What else?
Be slim.
They're on B Slim. What else?
Certified.
They're certified. Anything else?
5 senior health coaches.
Nope, that's the next one. That's a fully integrated business coach. Anything else? What's the first step to being integrated?
Integrated client.
Integrated client, right? So that's the first thing. Are you a fully integrated client? A fully integrated client is somebody who is on B Slim, they're practicing the habits of health, they're checking in with their coach, they're using the bio network. That's what a fully integrated client is. So you're on the path yourself to optimal health. Then it's, yes, get certified, you're on B Slim, you have at least 6,000 in frontline volume. These are the KPIs. When you're trying to reach fully integrated health coach, the key performance indicators are how many client candidates, how many client invites did you say, hey, would you like to check this out? Would you like to meet one-on-one? Would you like to come to a healthy happy hour? How many offers to check out the program? How many actually do check out the program? And then from that will lead to how many new clients you get per month. Does that make sense? Simple. But those are the key things to track. If you don't know your ratios, then it's going to be more difficult for your mentor to help. Because let's say that I remember Whitney was having a coaching call with somebody, and she goes, man, I finally got my first coach. I've been doing this for 2 years. I finally got my first coach. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a presidential. And when he goes, well, she said, I talked to all kinds of people about this. And when he goes, how many people? She goes, at least 4. And when he goes, well, guess what? Good news is, you're actually pretty successful at sharing this with people. You're just not sharing it with enough. Does that make sense? So you got to track these numbers. Let's look at who can tell me what a fully integrated business coach is?
All of the above. Yeah.
So it's all of the above for this, and what else?
5 senior coaches.
The big distinction between a fully integrated health coach and a fully integrated business coach is now you're a team builder. A business coach is somebody who's supporting other coaches to reach at least senior coach or above. And so here's the criteria. You're a fully integrated client, fully integrated health coach, you're connected to the bio network, you're helping at least 5 people on your team reach senior coach or above, and you have at least how much?
15,000.
And if you're helping 5 people plus your own 6,000, you'll have at least 15,000 in group volume. At this level, you're now starting to build a team, and you're not alone. You're not carrying the weight of your world. This is where you break away from the S and you start moving into the B part of your business, building equity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So in this category, you need to still maintain these KPIs, but if you want to build a team, you've got how many health coach candidate invitations? Who would like to take a look? So after Gail started losing weight, Whitney could have came back to that trilogy score and said, remember how you talked about having meaning and purpose? Has anyone asked you about this program? Oh, tons of people. How fun would it be if you could help them? And what if we could help you have a purposeful career that